This is Kristen Bell.
And Adam Brody.
And we're dating.
In our new show, Nobody Wants This.
Right. We're not really dating.
No, in real life, we're married.
Right. Married to other people, not each other.
Oh, this is complicated.
Right. It's just like our love lives in Nobody Wants This, a show about what happens when a bold and sometimes provocative podcast host finds her unlikely match in a sweet traditional rabbi.
You can watch every episode of Nobody Wants This now, only on Netflix.
Hey, it's Austin James. Yes, I'm living with diabetes, but it doesn't have to define me. Thanks to the FreeStyle Libre 3 Plus sensor, I get real-time glucose readings throughout the day. The FreeStyle Libre 3 Plus sensor is small and easy to wear, giving me the freedom to focus on my life as a parent and a musician. Now this is progress. You can get a free sensor at freestylelibre.us.
Offer available for people who qualify. Visit myfreestyle.us to see all terms and conditions. Certain exclusions apply. Data on file. Abbott Diabetes Care. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
I'm Dr. Wendy Hunter, and I'm the pediatrician next door. I'm that doctor friend you call for practical advice about your kid's health. I mix the science of medicine with the reality of parenting. It's always seemed odd to me that nobody checks your credentials before you're allowed to be a parent. It's like literally the most challenging job in the world, like more than a Navy SEAL, I'm pretty sure. And God is like, why don't we just give you a baby and see what happens? And if it's not working out, maybe we'll do something about it, but you'll be fine. Anyone can do this. But truly, if you did need to have, say, certain skills or certifications on a parenting application, what would they be? My thought is that parents need to be flexible and good in a crisis, able to change plans at the last second and think on their feet. I bring this up because I was scheduling Evan and Kevin from the Dumb Dad podcast to come and host this show. They're two of my favorite stay-at-home dads, so it wasn't surprising when our first 2 attempts at recording this show were interrupted. In the end, we got this done, and it made a good story and a great episode. And kind of an awkward intro. Here it is.
Okay, let's start it. Hi, everybody. My name is Kevin.
Hello, my name is Evan.
And welcome to the Pediatrician Next Door. We were supposed to do this podcast before, and my daughter was hospitalized. I brought her to the ER because first I brought her to our pediatrician, and she was complaining of pain on her side. And we were all like, appendicitis, maybe. I don't know. And it was one of those things where the pediatrician was just like, you could bring her to the ER. You could also take her home and just monitor. If it gets worse, go to the ER. We're like, cool. We get home. She pops 103-degree fever. She's doubled over in pain in her side. Only that side. We're like, okay. So I take her to the ER, and they immediately do a bunch of tests on her. Everybody's thinking appendicitis. And they're not seeing anything in the ultrasound. Then they give her a CAT scan, and then they give her an x-ray, and they admit her overnight. And we're all just like, which is, that whirlwind of just like, you're hoping to go there, and they're just like, she's gassy.
Everything's great. Yeah.
She has to poop.
One square.
One square.
Ever eat one square.
One square.
I'm glad you guys learned something.
Bar? Yeah, so we were there overnight, which was a weird experience for me because pediatrics, it felt like it was also back to like when she was born, was the last time I was laying down in the hospital when my son was born. And then it ended up not being appendicitis. I'm going to read it, what it was, so I don't mess up the medical term for it. They said it's, I don't know. And I just don't know.
Was it actually adenoitis or?
Yeah, I think that's the Latin one.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to square that circle, because we went from thinking like a part of her was about to explode like a Wile E. Coyote invention, and then just kind of went to, I don't know, it's just the kids, they'll keep an eye on her. Sure. If she doubles over, you need to come back. But, and then she's pretty much, she's fully recovered. Like she has no pain there anymore, and it's totally fine. She had to follow up with her pediatrician. And it was funny because by the time we went to the pediatrician, everything was fine. And the pediatrician was like, oh, great. I was like,
kids are so resilient.
I don't understand. Everybody was like appendicitis, kept her overnight. And it's just so, I don't even know if I have a question. It's just like, what do we
I have
here?
answers. I do have answers. Yeah. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is that it's one of my favorite things is when a parent comes in and they say, my kid's ear hurts, right? And I look and there's nothing going on. And so then I make the diagnosis, and I make the diagnosis of otalgia, which really is just like Greek for ear pain. So you told me you have ear pain, and then I basically like translated it. So, yeah, you have ear pain, and like confirmed it. Yeah, you've got ear pain with no underlying reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
But seriously, we make a differential diagnosis is what doctors do, which is a long list of things that something possibly could be.
Sure.
And the fact that she had a fever is really where you want to hang your hat, is that if she had fever, there was some kind of inflammatory process going on, and that's good. And she could have had what we call mesenteric adenitis, which is where a lymph
we all
node,
think it was.
lymph node in the abdominal cavity, which you don't always realize that's there, can be inflamed and really uncomfortable. And then nothing showed up on the CT scan, which is really reassuring. But you can get what is it called? A torsion, so twisting of part of your mesentery, that film that covers over your entire abdomen. A piece of it can just twist and hurt really bad.
Okay.
But that wouldn't cause a fever, but that can happen. Like weird stuff happens to kids. That's why there are specialists, right?
Yeah.
Or she just had a virus.
Or she just, well, the crazy thing was like, it's amazing that we got discharged.
And a little bit of poop.
And some poop, yeah.
And that hurts.
We were sitting, she was in her bed in the hospital, and the surgeon was there. And this is the other part of it that is just like mind blowing of what to do. The surgeon comes in and he is just like, so, it's kind of up in the air of what it could be. If you guys want to go ahead, we can remove the appendix.
You don't really need it anyway, we think.
Or we can wait it out,
Mm-hmm.
I always, just lean towards to get rid of it because then it's not a problem later.
Yeah.
But, it's up to you guys, and just stared at us. And then he also did say, like, you don't have to make the decision now. And then he just didn't leave.
Where you're like, well, let me just go to med school real quick. I'll be right back. Just give me 4 years. And
so
then
I can somehow make my decision more informed than that was.
So he was just like, all right, so we'll probably stay another night and we'll monitor her. And if it, I forget what it was, but it was basically, if it doesn't get better, we'll remove it. And I was like, oh, okay. So then they let her have food.
Oh.
To see if it would get worse.
Yeah.
Which they didn't tell us. They were just like, let's just let her have food. And it was great. So that she had food.
We're starting to treat appendicitis with just antibiotics, and it works really well.
Oh,
they're doing that a lot in adults, but not brave enough to try it in kids yet.
Oh, that's why it wasn't an option.
Mm.
But yeah, then she ate food and they kicked her out 3 hours later. And it was like, what? I was just talking with a surgeon.
Yeah.
And now they're like, go home.
You could, put your daughter under and take out her appendix, or you could also see who wins Jeopardy tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call it shared decision making. I don't know why it became a thing in medicine, but I'm like, I just miss the paternalism of medicine where I could be like, this is what we're doing because I know and you don't. And can I just go do it?
I mean, we're in a nightmare hellscape of people being like, do your own research. And I'm like, well, there's peer reviewed people that have went to school for, a
long time. Yeah, really long time.
I don't understand it, but I get it. I appreciate, I guess, the degree of which they're like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like,
yeah, let's get back to letting doctors boss people around. I really miss those days.
All for it.
Well, honestly, because those situations, like, how could you possibly know what the right answer is? And
and it's this person
you
you
don't
love.
know. I mean, there's this person you love. It's almost impossible to feel like you've made the right decision because you literally have no idea what the right decision is to make. And I'm sure you've seen so many parents with just like 1,000-yard stare of, I don't know what to do. And I think sometimes it helps just to be able to, maybe even just the parent to have the wherewithal to say like, well, what would you do in my situation?
Yeah.
And then whether or not you agree with that, but it's almost like I'm looking at a blank piece of paper. I don't know what to write on it. Can you get me to start by doing something? Like either I'm going to agree or disagree with you, but then at least a decision has been sort of made or leaned towards or something, because it's so difficult in those moments. Like you said, it's a person you love more than anything in the world, and you don't.
And
not only do you not know
art.
what the right decision is making, I certainly don't want to make the wrong decision.
Yeah, this is not science. It really is an art, and it does depend on the experience that a pediatrician has had or your doctor has had. But yeah, I think it's really fair to say, what would you do if it was your kid? And I can say, if this was my child, this is what I would do and why. Now make your decision.
Yeah.
I just don't like that doctors are now taking the mechanics mentality where they're just like, listen, you got to change this filter, and also you got to change, like, the brake pads are bad, and you're just kind of like, all right, that sounds expensive.
We're going to have to replace that shoulder at some point.
A couple of them. I don't want to do that with my kids. Like, don't a la carte me. Let's go for it.
My daughter woke up vomiting one night. It was like 3:00 in the morning. And I was at the time a pediatric ER doctor. And she's vomiting. She doesn't feel bad at all. She just can't stop vomiting. And I was like looking at my watch and I'm like, I'm not taking you to the ER now. It's going to be terrible. Let's go. It's shift change. Like 6 a.m. will be better. So then I didn't take her till 6. Things were much calmer, by the way. It went great.
Sure.
She passed a kidney stone. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was like, you can pass it at home. It's fine. No, I really didn't know what was going on with her, but I'm like, you got to wait.
You got to
make sure that like
now
this
is
is
not
real.
a good time to go
It's
to
better
the
use of
ER.
your time. The bed is more comfortable than those ER waiting room chairs. So you made a good call.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
That's true. I know the wild thing was, I mean, listening to Kevin's experience when they finally came home, and or of course, like we're texting them as well, like if we can do anything, if there's any updates, and of course, then that was the update, and it was like, huh?
That was such a letdown.
How can they use their own special cameras to tell you not only are you pregnant, it's a boy, and it's like the babies, but they're this big. I can tell that now. You're like, we're in pain right now. There's something going on right now. And they're like, I don't know. We used all these instruments we could have back here. We don't see anything.
We don't see anything. Kids are crazy.
What?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
They are. That's the answer.
That's the answer.
Mothers know all about life's tricky transitions. Thankfully, Ollie helps you prioritize wellness through every age, life stage, or magnificent mood change. Need a multitasking multivitamin that keeps up with you? How about an essential prenatal for you and baby? Ollie's got you through it all. Life's tricky. Your wellness routine shouldn't be. Get what you need at ollie.com.
How do you feel great on vacation? Like really good? Easy. You go to Aruba. You'll spend your time relaxing on cool white sand beaches and floating in healing blue water. You'll immerse yourself in natural wonder and find your center on an island where things move at your speed. You won't just feel great, you'll feel relaxed, renewed, and ready for life. That's the Aruba effect. Plan your trip at aruba.com.
On our podcast, we like to do what's called sharing our dumb dad moment of the week. And as you can imagine, with over like however many episodes we've done of our podcast, we've done and shared one every week.
Wow.
Sometimes they're quite popular because it's a massive mistake. And other times it's just like, what did you do that was stupid this week and how can we learn from it? We would love to hear if you have like a dumb parenting moment. And I can kick it off by something very silly I did this week, dropping my kids off at school. Just a little context. Last year, every day, my daughter, as a kindergartner, wanted me, like I would drop them off at school and I would wait on the other side. We cannot enter campus to drop our kids off. So I'm outside of the campus and it's a chain link fence, but I would like stay there until their teacher would come and get them and walk them to their classroom. So just the comfort level of knowing that I was there until the teacher got there, and it's like 10, 15 minutes. I established this year, day one, that I was like, I can't do that anymore. I probably could, but it was more for her to not like require that or make it so that was the, I was doing it for her so that she feels confidence in herself to like, I'm going to leave and then you can stand there with your classmates until the teacher comes. And one of the days last week, I dropped the kids off and I needed to fly home to Seattle that afternoon. So I was like, I'm going to see you guys in a couple days. And so I walked them to the gate and gave them big hugs and everything. My son ran off to his classroom and my daughter went around to her line and I kind of made sure to go around the chain link fence. I stood there for a few minutes and then I gave this big wave and I said, she's like, are you leaving? I said, yes. And I said, bye. And we were like blowing each other kisses. And I'm walking back around the fence and on the sidewalk and over to get ready to leave. And I'm making this kind of like more so than usual. I'm like giving her like blowing big kisses. And then I open the car door and it's some other lady's car. And she just looks up at me and goes, "Hi." And I was like, "Hi, this is not my car. I'm so sorry." And I shut the door. My wife is like, she 100% saw the whole thing because I walked in front of the car. So she saw me like blowing kisses and then she's thinking, "Yep, he's coming here. He's going to open the door.
He's going to murder me."
She wasn't like, "Come sit down. We'll talk about it." Are you okay?
Yeah. Okay.
You okay?
Yeah. And I mean, it was like 3 cars away too. I wasn't even close to my car. And it was a different color too.
He was emotionally engaged in his kids. That's so sweet. I can't follow that. I can't go next. Nope.
You can't?
I don't think so. I'm going to have to go third because just yours is sweet. And
again, trust me, that's just the one I did this week. There's been so many others.
Yeah. I'm impressed weekly, huh? Do you have one, Kevin?
I do. I have one. So we had a 4-day weekend this past weekend. So fun.
2 weeks into school.
No notes.
Yeah.
No notes. Perfect. It was great for everyone. Everyone had a great time. Nothing went wrong. So my wife was working. She works from home. So that's always nice. I mean, she appreciates it. Obviously, it's tough with work because then she works longer hours because she'll come out and hang out with the kids when they come home from school or whatever. But on Friday, I was just like, all right, the kids are off from school. Like, she needs to work. So I was like, all right, let's make a big old day of it. So we get a lot of those 2-month passes at places. And it was just like, what if we did them all? So like first we started with the library, which we have a membership to. Good start,
That's healthy.
Can brag about that one easy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was great because we picked up some books for my daughter, which she had never done before. We put them on hold. So she was excited about that. Then we still went in and they were so loud. They're so loud at the library. It's the worst. And my son is 5. He just like doesn't understand. And that's so fair. But he's just like, "Dad, I want to read this book." And I'm like, stop. Somebody's doing a...
Right. And then you say, use your quiet voice. "I want to use that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
"I want to read this book." And I was like, you just sound like you have emphysema. You're still loud. And then we got some more books. And then it was like, all right, we're going to go to Chuck E. Cheese. Because we got a little pass there.
It's turned dark.
Yeah. And we drove to Chuck E. Cheese. And then everyone else had that idea. So then we had to drive to a different Chuck E. Cheese.
There's only so many options when it's going to be 100 degrees.
Yeah.
That's not going to be an outdoor thing.
It was 100 degrees that day. So it's like playgrounds and stuff were not an option.
I didn't know Chuck E. Cheese had passes. That's really interesting.
Yeah, they have like 2-month or yearly passes.
I honestly think they started it this year. They've been changing out a lot of their facilities to like update them. And that's been one of the things that they started offering this year.
Yeah, we did. I'm on the PTA, so I scheduled a restaurant night. I do all like the restaurant nights once a month for our school. At the end of the year last year, I did one at Chuck E. Cheese. And it was one of those ones where we walked up and they were just like, "Do you want a 2-month pass?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, that sounds great. That sounds cool. Let's do that."
Yeah.
In the summer in LA, in the San Fernando Valley, yeah, I think there'll be a couple of days we need inside activities. So we did that. That went great. And then, it is them playing video games, but they're running around aggressively there.
Right. It's cardio gaming.
I like to say it's screen time, but they have to move from screen to screen. So it is.
Fair.
It's exercise.
Plus they have to like fight for the game.
For the game.
That's a good skill.
They're standing. They're all at standing desks, playing their video games.
It's good for their core.
Air hockey.
Avoiding, air hockey. Mm-hmm. So then we were done with that. And it was like, okay, because that one is like, you get passes and you get a certain amount of points every day. So it's like, when those are up, we're done. Let's move on to the next thing. And then we went to Sky Zone.
I'm like already tired. Okay.
Yeah. It was a day. It was one of those things that's like, do all the things because then like the day will be over. It'll be good. And then they'll have had a fun day. And we went to Sky Zone. We'd never done it where we hit all these things up at the same time. So they were just like, "Dad, this is like the best day ever." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I'm going to pay for it later, but let's have fun now." And then we went to Sky Zone and we have a pass there too. So they got like 90 minutes and they were jumping for 90 minutes. And it was great. I crushed it. And then my son like needed a breathing treatment because his asthma really flared up after.
I was going to say, I love trampoline parks. We get broken bones and asthma exacerbations.
Yeah.
Good for business.
He needed his inhaler and then a saline breathing treatment. And I was just like, well, you overdid it. I mean, Know your limits. Jeez.
It's definitely his fault.
It's definitely his fault. I didn't do anything. I was fun dad.
Wrap this up so we can go bowling.
Fun dad. Yeah. Get it together. You're in the parking lot.
You got to feel better so we can move on.
At what point in the day did you realize that you had worn the wrong shoes because your feet were hurting so bad, even trying to make it through all this yourself?
No, I was fine. I was crushing it. I had on my workout sneakers. As a dad, I'm never going to wear flip-flops. I don't. I think every time I see a dad at the playground wearing flip-flops, it's not a judgment thing. It's just like, well, that is bold.
No,
You
those
think-
are going out shoes in
Yeah.
SoCal. Yeah, you wear your flip-flops when you're like going out.
No, I wear sneakers because they're going to be on top of the structure going, I'm scared.
Yeah.
And I don't
then
want to
you've
climb
gotta
that
figure out
thing
how to
with
do it with
flip-flops.
Yeah, that's not happening.
So I always wear the right shoes. But yeah, my dumb dad moment was like, this is fun, right? This is fun. Why do you sound like there's a squeaker in your chest?
Oh.
He's fine.
All right, so you got to pre-medicate when you have the fun day, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pre-med. He needs a little
need the wipes in
inhaled
one holster.
steroid.
And
Yeah.
then
He needs to hit his
inhaler in the other holster.
hit his emergency
Yeah.
one first.
You definitely
Is
need
that
to
the trick?
holster the inhaler as well as the wipes.
I'd like to get the inhaler on one of those like old timey like release gun things. If we're talking about gun holsters,
Oh,
the one where it just
yeah.
pops up from the forearm.
Yeah,
Kinda
and
like
they'll think it's like
Assassin's Creed.
Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah, Spider-Man stuff.
Love that. I feel like I could probably make you one of those. That's good.
Okay, let's do it. So do you have a?
gosh, I do.
It's your dumb
I don't know
dad
where to
moment.
start. I wish you guys could coach me on how to tell a story well, but here we go. Okay, so I was at work last week and my son texts both my husband and I at the same time and it says, I've made a huge mistake. I'm like,
And how
that's
old
it.
is your son?
How old?
He's 17.
17. Okay.
So I'm like, what? Like it could be anything. And I'm thinking
Yeah.
car
Mhm.
related,
It's a
but
good
no.
start.
So then the next thing that comes is a picture he's taken of my art on the wall with a bullet hole through it. And then you can see beyond it that he's taken the picture off the wall and above it is the bullet hole in the drywall. So he says, I accidentally shot a hole in the wall is the next step that comes. So
What?
I don't know if you know how much time I spend weekly educating parents on not having a loaded gun in the house.
Probably quite a
And
bit.
my son has actually taken gun safety courses. He has a Boy Scout. He has his riflery merit badge. And yet I don't know why. We have a loaded pellet gun that my husband keeps next to the back door because we live on a farm and he likes to scare away rabbits.
Okay.
By making an
That's a
example of one of
euphemism.
them.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know why my son was home alone and he just wanted to figure out how the gun worked. And I'm
And
glad
a
he didn't
painting
shoot
was
it
the
himself.
choice.
Yeah.
He didn't mean to fire it. I don't know how he pulled the trigger, but he shot a hole in the wall with a loaded gun
gosh.
in a pediatrician's house.
So
I feel kind of
what
dumb.
was your God, what is your
Like, whose fault
response
is
to that?
that?
That's what I
don't-
mean. Because he's 17. He shouldn't be doing that, but you're owning it right now yourself.
Yeah.
How much
Yeah.
did you own it in the moment?
I was actually really forgiving because I was like, you know, you're a dumbass, right? Like, you know, like, I don't even think I have to punish you because I think you're humbled enough to be like, I'm so glad I didn't shoot my eye. Like, he wasn't
Yeah.
looking down the barrel. I don't know what he was doing. I'd love to have him explain himself, but that was a pretty good dumb parent moment.
Well, we have him on here. Let's
Let's bring him in. He's been in the waiting room for 15 minutes.
Can you explain yourself, son?
Oh my gosh. I'm sure
Yeah.
that's. I'm
Don't let your
sure-
guards down is my point. I
Yeah.
guess,
I was
right?
going to
For
say, I'm
everyone.
sure that's humbling, but at the same time, like, honestly, you can use that as an example. Like, even somebody like me, this can happen to anybody as part of your, like you said, I'm sure you talk to so many parents about the safety in which, and like, it's like you can really never be too sure or too careful.
That's true.
So I would say just own the example because.
Right. That's not a bad idea. Like we all have our moments and blind spots, right?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Thank you to Kevin and Evan, the Dumb Dads. They are oddly comforting to me in the way they bring vulnerability and humor to parenting. Check them out on social media and laugh along with them on the Dumb Dad podcast. And let me know if you enjoyed listening to us as much as we enjoyed recording this, because I'd love to have them back. For more from the Pediatrician Next Door, find me on the web at pediatriciannextdoorpodcast.com. If you've got a question about the weird things kids do, send an email to hello@pediatriciannextdoorpodcast.com for a chance to hear your voice on the show. I'm Dr. Wendy Hunter, and I'm the pediatrician next door. This show is produced by Red Rock Music. Make sure to subscribe and leave a review wherever it is you're listening. I'll be back next time with more.
So I was just like really bored. I had nothing better to do. So I went into the living room thinking I might get like a snack or something. And I saw the gun sitting there. And I thought like, I should know how to use it because my dad wants me to go and shoot the rabbit that's been running around. And so I pick it up and I open it up, just like, you know, see if there was a pellet in. And I thought there wasn't a pellet because it's the same color as, it's like the same color as the inside of the barrel. At least I thought it was. And so I thought it wasn't loaded. And then I closed it. And then I thought the safety was off. So I thought, oh, I'm going to turn it on. And I went the wrong way. And then I realized, oh, I need to go the other way. So I tried to like pull it back. And I think while I was messing with it, I got the dumb idea in my head that I needed to turn the safety on. I needed to like let the hammer forward or whatever, or not the hammer, like it doesn't have a firing pin because it's not a real gun. It's a pellet gun. But whatever action causes the gun to fire, I thought, oh, that needs to be unjammed. And so I thought the gun was unloaded. I had it pointed in a somewhat safe direction. It wasn't pointed at me. It was pointed like up-ish. And I pulled the trigger and it shot a hole in the wall. So I unloaded the gun, but not in the right way.